Hi, welcome to the EB Sports Pod. I'm sorry it's been a very long time now, but we're back and I will try and stay consistent. I can't promise you anything because I know I'll just fail on that promise, but I will try and stay consistent and I hope you enjoy the second episode of the EB Sports Pod. I thought it was a good time now to sort of get back into it. Summer's coming to an end and sort of starting, everyone's going back to school and work again. Me personally, I'm starting university next Monday, which is really exciting for me. Starting a sports journalism course that's what I wanted to do for about 4 years, so it's exciting we finally get in there and something I really look forward to, and I'll get better at things like this and get better practice at things like this. So hopefully you'll notice progression over time throughout the episodes. So for today's episode, we'll start off with going through the headlines. So John Stones is out for up to 5 weeks, which is quite big news really. Although he's not usually one of Manchester City's starting centre-backs, he would have been playing a lot more now that their best defender, in my opinion, Laporte, is out injured until January, I think Pep Guardiola said. And especially since that devastating loss to Norwich 3-2, which was a real shock to everyone in the footballing world, having another injury around the back with just conceded 3 goals is not what Man City would have wanted at all. The Wales Rugby Union coach has been sent home over betting allegations, which is quite a big problem in sporting now. You hear about in all sports. Football, quite a recent one, you hear Joey Barton those years back. When he was playing football, he betted for himself to get sent off, and he did, and he got quite a lot of trouble with that. A more recent example, I think, was Daniel Sturridge telling his family members to bet on him to score or get bookings in certain games to sort of guarantee a win, really, which really isn't allowed and very unsportsmanlike. Those few stories are the headlines today. Not much. It's a Tuesday. Champions League tonight as well, so there'll be more coming through the next few days on sort of news. So that's why it's maybe a bit quiet day at the office today. So today, first topic we're going to talk about is football. Premier League results over the weekend. The first game to kick off was Saturday at 12:30. Liverpool versus Newcastle United. It was a good game actually. Newcastle took a surprising lead actually with a great goal by Jetro Willems, which was his first goal for the club. It was a really great goal. I don't think any keeper would save that. But Liverpool did really well coming out second half, kicking on. Managed to get an extra goal after they were leading 2-1 up at half-time to win the game 3-1. And I think that was largely thanks to Roberto Firmino, who maybe wouldn't have been brought on if Divock Origi hadn't been injured. So sometimes you get lucky with injuries, and changing the game like Firmino really did him a big favour and has put him top of the league still, winning every game. Brighton and Burnley drew 1-1. It's one of those games people won't remember. Two teams who don't have particularly exciting styles of football. I think 1-1 is what everyone expected. I'd have been surprised if there was more than 3 goals in the game. Brighton were winning nice and comfortably, 1-0, sort of nice and calm until the end. Burnley got a late equaliser. But I think both sides will sort of be happy with sharing the points at the end of the day. Good result maybe for both teams. Manchester United actually got a great result at home to Leicester City. Rashford got an early penalty, and the game even though Leicester tried to kick on late second half to get that equaliser, Manchester United managed to keep them out. Obviously, that's a lot of thanks to De Gea again, and it's great that they managed to tie him down to a new contract. Sheffield United versus Southampton, a very close game as well. Sheffield United did get a goal ruled out, Oliver McBurney. And then Southampton pretty much went and scored straight after, so that was a real salt in the wounds for Sheffield, but a good away result for Southampton, and it was another close game there. Coming on to my team now, Tottenham. Very happy to say we won 4-0 against Crystal Palace. It's the first game of the season we won since the opening day. And we hadn't been on the greatest of form, but to win 4-0 at Palace and to be 4-0 up at half-time gave us the opportunity to take off a few key players second half, like Harry Winks and Harry Kane, who might be playing tomorrow night in the Champions League against Olympiacos away. Wolverhampton 2, Chelsea 5. I was surprised by that. Wolves had such a brilliant season last season. First time straight back up into the Premier League, and they sort of did really well, managed to get a Europa League spot. But the thing is, following season now, a lot of teams struggle with having European football if they're not used to it, having to rotate players a lot, playing a lot of matches. And they are right down in the Premier League now. I think Nuno is a bit under pressure, as Crazy Fan was ranting on TalkSport. I heard about it. It went quite viral, that clip. But I don't think they'll make any rush judgments. Nuno's done a lot for their club, and I'd be surprised if he got sacked. But it was a fantastic result for Frank Lampard to win 5-2 against Wolves away, where Wolves got so many good results against top 6 sides last season. He'll be over the moon with that, scoring 5 goals especially, all from his England under-21 players. Tomori's got an absolute screamer. Tammy Abraham just keeps scoring the goals. He got a hat-trick that game. And Mason Mount also managed to get a goal, which was fantastic. And obviously there was that late kickoff on Saturday. Norwich 3, Manchester City 2. And I did not see Norwich hold on for that. I saw them go 2-0 up and I thought Manchester City would still turn this around. And then Manchester City got one back. I was like, here we go. They're probably going to turn this right round now. Might even win 4-5-2. But they didn't. Norwich managed to get another goal. A huge mistake out the back from Manchester City. Playing out the back is something I'm not too keen on, especially again Premier League teams. There's no dodgy Premier League teams. They're all good teams. That's what makes it the most exciting league in the world. There's no dud teams in the league. You cannot risk passing out the back playing so calmly, and they did that against Norwich, and they cost them a goal, which in the end did cost them a match. They went 3-1 up. Man City didn't have much, had to use a whole second half to try and kick on, putting a lot of pressure on. Norwich could have got another goal, to be honest, but Manchester City did manage to pull one back, but that wasn't enough for them to even get a point at Carrow Road. Moving on to Sunday, there's a few games on Sunday. We had Bournemouth 3, Everton 1 was the earlier kickoff on Sunday. Everton have got to be disappointed, really. They're not progressing much over the seasons. They're spending a lot of money, one of the most in the league, and they're just not really kicking on to what people expected them to. As a Spurs fan, they were on the same level as us not that long ago. They finished above us not long ago, just before Pochettino arrived. We were on that same level. One of us was going to push into top 4, and that was us. And now they're not even top 6 even. They're pushed right down now. Not even really getting close to Europa League spot in my opinion, but they might do this season because Wolves been so out of form, and Watford, who were both up there with them. It's that battle of 3 really. But Everton's still underwhelming. The amount of money they spend, and they've actually got a good team. They managed to bring in Moise Kean this summer. They had Richarlison last summer, who's been a great signing. I'd say their best player. They just seem to leak the goals in, even though Pickford managed to keep a lot of clean sheets last season. It's just silly defensive errors. And they happened again against Bournemouth. But it's a fantastic result for Bournemouth. Eddie Howe's done such a great job there. I could definitely see him being England manager one day. But winning 3-1 against Everton, which again I would have expected Bournemouth to lose, and to win 3-1 quite comfortably is a great result for them. And the later kick-off that day was Watford-Arsenal. Watford had a great start with Kiko Flores as manager. It's his first game back. They started off really well in that match. They just couldn't get a goal. And then Arsenal Aubameyang punished them to go 1-0 up. And then they conceded again 2-0 up Arsenal. But then Watford really got on the afterburner second half. And once again, another team playing out the back cost them a goal. And probably cost them the match for Arsenal. The first goal Watford got back, Tom Cleverley scored, is for playing out of the back from a goal kick. Just like what happened with Otamendi at Manchester City. They lost possession. Tom Cleverley just hit it first time. And there you go. Easy goal, Watford. Proper gift for them. And then late on, a lot of people go on about Arsenal's issues in defence. And they haven't improved that this summer. David Luiz was not the answer to their questions. He's been a bit of a radical defender anyway. And I think instead of spending all that money on Nicolas Pepe, who hasn't really shown his true potential yet, they should have got in a solid defender for that amount of money. It could have done them a world of good, because they are starting to build a good team. They got a good experienced manager with trophies behind them. But David Luiz was not the answer to the problems, and once again he gave away another penalty this game late on, and Roberto Pereira took that away calmly. And that was about in the 80th minute. And then Doucouré made an excellent run right at the end of the game, and he probably should have scored the winner, to be honest. And Watford absolutely dominated Arsenal that game. It was almost as if Arsenal playing Man City or Liverpool, but it was Watford, bottom of the league Watford, completely outplaying Arsenal, and they probably deserved the win. And I think I think both teams would be disappointed in that game. Arsenal being 2-0 up against bottom of the league and drawing 2-2, and Watford really needing a win, having nearly 30 shots. Maybe they did get 30 shots against Arsenal, and just not managing to do it. But 2-2 against Arsenal, you said before the game, I think Watford have been over the moon with that, and Kike Flores, I'm sure, will be happy with the performance anyway. Yesterday, we had our Monday night football, Aston Villa v West Ham. Quite fond of this new sort of built Aston Villa team, a lot of new money into it, a lot of new players, exciting players. You've got new England international Tyrone Mings, had a great season. And West Ham brought in a few good players. Sebastian Howe looks like he can be a great striker. And obviously Wesley for Aston Villa. So another great striker in that game. But neither of them scored, and no one scored in that match. And I thought it would be a really exciting game. Aston Villa v West Ham. Two quite good teams. I think will be... Oh, they should be top half of the table this season. But you never know. A lot of good competition this year. But 0-0 for both of them. I think Aston Villa will be disappointed because they're at home. And probably both teams again actually thinking about it. Because West Ham, they do spend a lot of money. They are trying to establish themselves as a bigger club. So they sort of need to win games like that, where there's teams round them, rather than just beating the bottom teams. So today, Tuesday 17th of September, the Champions League is back. So we have quite a few matches today, with Group E playing, Napoli and Liverpool, which will be a great game, and that's live on BT Sport. Really close game, will be interesting. Fernando Llorente, a former Tottenham player, now Napoli player, getting in the later stage of his career. He said he wants to get revenge for what happened in the Champions League final. So he might come on and cause Liverpool some real problems tonight. He might start, I don't know. I wouldn't expect him to start, but I think he'll certainly be on the bench and he'll really be motivated to come on. Maybe do a bit of justice for Spurs. A few other big games. Borussia Dortmund-Barcelona will be a really good game. Dortmund obviously disappointed because they were top of the league in the Bundesliga for so long last season, only to fall short right at the last hurdle to German champions Bayern Munich. Barcelona, they're sort of digressing recently. They haven't been to the Champions League final for a while. Real Madrid keep winning the Champions League finals recently, except Liverpool also winning it great last year. Barcelona really want to probably kick on and show they need a Champions League probably again now, because Spanish league titles isn't enough, especially in the mess that Real Madrid are currently in. Chelsea v Valencia is another great game. That Group H is incredibly close, with the other two teams being Ajax and Lille. They're all very equal teams. I mean, when the group was first drawn, I think Chelsea are probably going to go out because they've just been absolutely smacked by United. They've dropped a few points to, I think, Sheffield, and got a bit lucky against Norwich as well. But they did very well against Wolves the weekend, so we'll see. But I could see Chelsea getting out of the group, but I don't see them being real contenders. And that's no fault of Frank Lampard. The team he's inherited, it's always going to be difficult to lose Eden Hazard. But I think they'll get out of the group at least anyway, which I'm sure Frank will be happy with, because it is a tough group. Tomorrow, which is Wednesday, more great Champions League games. Paris Saint-Germain against Real Madrid. We're interested to see Neymar playing, hopefully, because he was close to joining Madrid in the summer. He was close to leaving PSG in the summer to Barcelona. PSG brought in a few good players this summer. Keylor Navas, Icardi, great striker. See how that pans out. And Real Madrid brought in so many players. Obviously, Eden Hazard being the main big one. They brought in a lot of good players. Ferland Mendy as well. A lot of changes to that Real Madrid side. And we'll see what works out there, because they're in a real mess at the moment. The other English team playing on tomorrow is my team, Tottenham Hotspur, against Olympiacos. Pochettino, the manager, has said he's going to be experimental. He's going to rotate things a lot. Serge Aurier and Danny Rose, the starting fullbacks, the best fullbacks in my opinion that we have. I haven't even travelled. Obviously, that's bear in mind we've got a tough game against Leicester at the weekend. It's been interesting what's going to happen. Probably Ben Davis and Kyle Walker-Peters being the fullbacks. Have a little rotation maybe, because Olympiacos is considered to be quite an easier game, one of the easiest games in the group, because Tottenham, I think, have been fortunate in the Champions League groups this year compared to other years. They've had real groups of death, but they still managed to get out. But they shouldn't take Olympiacos too easy, because you know what happens when you take it too easy in the Champions League. Like Liverpool did lose to Cervena Zavrada in the Champions League group last year, which was a real shock. And that really put Liverpool under pressure. So Tottenham really don't want to drop points here at Olympiacos when they know they could probably win this game comfortably. And Manchester City are playing as well against Shakhtar Donetsk, who they just seem to play every year. I don't see Shakhtar doing anything. I'm sure Manchester City want to prove a point. They've come back after losing a real shocking result to Norwich. They want to come back real firing power. Atletico Madrid and Juventus is probably the other exciting game tomorrow. It'll be a really close game, actually. Obviously, Ronaldo playing against his former Madrid rivals, Atletico. He's always a big game player. But Atletico spent big this summer. They got the young João Felix, who's super promising. I think that price fee is well too expensive for that kid that age. In playing for Benfica as well. Although he did well in the Europa League and he's shown some of his best bits at Portugal, it's just a big risk, but it might pay off them paying all that now rather than another team snatching him up a bit later on, but that is soon to be seen. So on to boxing. One of the main names has been coming through now is the Cuban Frank Sanchez Figueroa, and he will rise past the Britain's heavyweight, says co-manager Michael Barral. He's an unbeaten contender who is set to pursue another knockout win next month. The Cuban danger man Frank Sanchez Figueroa would face Anthony Joshua immediately, but will soon rise past Britain's heavyweight, says co-manager Michael Barral. He's 27-year-old, he's unbeaten. He blasted out Victor Bisbal last month, who's no mug in this sport. He's a tough fighter, that guy. And Frank Sanchez Figueroa won his 13th straight victory in under 2 years, and so he's a very active fighter. He's obviously trying to get up the rankings quickly. And I think you're going to hear a lot more of him very soon if he sticks to this rate. Last weekend, we obviously had Tyson Fury versus Wallin. It's hard to pronounce some of these names, but I'll try my best. I think Fury won quite comfortably in the end on the scorecards, but a lot of people, including Eddie Hearn, saying Fury got a bit lucky. He got that big cut on his eye, and I think Fury himself had to have 40 stitches instead. That's a lot of stitches, obviously. And it did look real bad, that cut. And there was a lot of unfair play from Wallin trying to scrape that cut further. But it was difficult for Fury to come through that. And it's a good learning curve. But he did get taken straight to hospital. And there's a lot of questions. And Tyson Fury's father's been saying this. Is Tyson Fury concussed? Has he got that permanent damage? There's a lot of talk that Deontay Wilder did concuss Tyson Fury with those huge, great knockdowns that Tyson Fury faced. Tyson Fury can't remember how he went down against Wilder, and he can't remember how he got back up. Maybe hence why he's fighting Schwartz and Wallin, who are unknown names, although Wallin was highly ranked in the WBA rankings, but none of the other World Boxing Association rankings. He's not up there. No one would have known him before this Fury fight. And you got that argument to say these boxers have to take these big fights to get known, but he hasn't even beaten many fighters around his level, Wallin, although he's undefeated, but who has he really fought that anyone else would have heard of either? So, but I don't think Tyson Fury's going to rush into fighting Wilder, and it has been reported again that he's going to take quite a lot of time to get that sorted. The breaks and having extension on when they're going to fight next. They keep saying they're going to fight next. Wilder's not getting any younger now. I think he's 33 now. He's the oldest of the main three, being Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder. So, I think Deontay will want the fight soon. He's obviously got that knockout power, but he's not getting any younger. And unless he's like one of those rare Vladimir Klitschko who managed to keep himself in real good fighting condition, who was great at 40, managed to knock it down Anthony Joshua in such a big fight. I don't think Deontay Wilder will be fighting when he's 40, to be honest. So, I think Wilder wants this fight soon, or he will just move on from Fury now. Because if Fury is concussed, or maybe it's a cover-up of something else, and Fury's going to keep fighting these unknowns, then there's no point in Wilder wasting his time. Coming up, we do have Andy Ruiz Jr. fighting Anthony Joshua. That's the second fight, that's the rematch. Anthony Joshua will obviously be desperate to get those belts back. That was a real shock. Getting knocked down 4 times against Andy Ruiz Jr., who isn't in shape at all. he is a good boxer, to be fair to him. He was a fairly known name. He was high up in the rankings. I think he might have been one of the mandatories, and he did come in last minute, and he brought up a good performance. But Anthony Joshua's got to be putting someone away like that. This is the usually sort of person he does. Andy Ruiz has great hand speed, and he has harder knockout power than people realise. Ruiz hasn't apparently been training. He's been enjoying himself, which is fair enough. He's the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion in the world. But it's a great opportunity for him. He's #1 ranked heavyweight boxer at the moment. And he can't throw that away. He's got to take advantage of this. But I think Anthony Joshua is going to win the rematch. So that's coming soon. A lot of the older traditional boxing audience don't approve of it. But it is something that's got to be spoken about, and that is KSI v Logan Paul 2. This time it's on DAZN and not on YouTube. And Eddie Hearn Matchroom Boxing is behind it, who's probably the biggest boxing promoter in the world. And this is really being promoted now. It's not on YouTube. A lot of big fight names underneath. Billy Joe Saunders on the undercard. These are world title boxers fighting on a YouTube fight. Although it's not going to be labelled as a YouTube fight. No head guards. Now there's 10-ounce gloves. And this is a proper professional boxing event. They're just YouTubers who have now turned pro. This is the real deal now. This isn't no mess about. There is currently no other YouTubers on the undercard. Although there is talk of Jake Paul being put on the undercard, but who he fights, maybe Nissan Gibb or Faye Sensei or FuziTube, who knows? But I don't think that will happen this event. I think it might happen another event, but we'll see. Where I stand on this, Logan Paul obviously looks like he looks in better shape than KSI. He is an athlete, as he bangs on about. He sort of shows that he's been training. He's very public about how hard he's working. Got Shannon Briggs in his ear, this big mouth, showing how hard they've been working, how much they've been training, all this, and then all the sort of calories they're burning, all the muscle training, all the sparring. They're all very public about it. It sort of reminds me of someone coming up to their exams, making all these flashcards and showing them all off, but they don't actually use them. They're sort of trying to make it seem like they're training a lot more than they are, working a lot harder than they are, whilst KSI and Vidal Riley and his team are working quietly behind the scenes, getting on with what they're doing, and not being so public about it, not leaking stuff to the press like Logan Paul has been doing about no women allowed in this house. It's very mental, really. I think KSI's got the right approach. Don't be all flashy about it. Don't be overconfident, arrogant like Logan Paul. Yes, I get Logan Paul's trying to put on a show, these big press conferences saying he's going to knock him out in round 1. That's what he said last time. It didn't happen. Yes, of course, there's more likely to be a chance of a round 1 knockout this time because of the 10-ounce gloves and the no head guards. But I just don't see that happening. I think this is a professional boxing fight. I think they'll both be very anxious and very nervous about this, although they're going to both prepare really hard for this. I personally just do not think there'll be a round 1 knockout, although obviously there is the likelihood. But KSI, he's confident he's going to win the fight, but he's not going to go out and say, I'm going to knock him out in round 1. Okay, maybe some people say he has low self-belief in himself, but I think he's being a realist. He's not going to say something he doesn't mean. He's not going to promise something to his 20 million fans to say, I'm going to knock him out in round 1. Then they show that he doesn't knock him out in round 1, it gets clipped, it gets memed. He doesn't want that. He's being smart about this. He's been a lot more professional. I thought Logan Paul was really unprofessional in the press conference. It's a pro boxing press conference. I do think Eddie Hearn should have stepped in. I know it's a YouTubers fighting, but these are professionals now. They're going to be on the same rankings. They're going to be the same weight classes, these professional boxers. They've got to be professional in these press conferences, and I think Eddie Hearn should have stepped in. They can't be in this walking around the stage talking about who's got the bigger genitalia in this sort of incidents. It's just unprofessional, and it's just a bit childish, really. For such a professional boxing event, I was hoping they'd take it more seriously. Because I'm British and I do like KSI and I've been watching him a long time, I'm definitely Team KSI, and I do actually think he's going to win this fight. I think he's better prepared. I think he's sparring more than Logan Paul is, really. He's sparring a lot of different variant of fighters. I do think Vidal Riley's a fantastic trainer. Shannon Briggs and his team can say they haven't heard of Vidal Riley. They might not have, but that doesn't really matter. Vidal Riley is not the one fighting him. He's the one training him, and he's getting him prepared for the fight. And he was right in saying that Shannon Briggs hasn't been heard of for 5 years. He's having to use this YouTube thing to get back into fame. Yeah, he might have the most knockouts ever as a heavyweight, But who is he really for? Okay, he fought Vitaly Klitschko. Did he win that fight? No, he lost. That's one of the only big names he's fought, really. He got lucky in the between period. He dodged a lot of great fighters at the time. He's got a good knockout power. He's not much of a boxer. He's probably just going to try and bring that across on Logan Paul. I do think KSI, even though not having that edge of like Deji spoke about, the sort of height and the not having the weight advantage, and probably not be as powerful as Logan Paul. I say that. I think KSI can probably outbox Logan Paul. This is going to be his third fight now. Logan Paul, this is going to be only his second fight. Okay, they've all been amateur fights in the past, but it's still experience. You're getting in that ring behind the crowd, all lights on you, the camera's shooting on you. If you lose this fight, it's going to be embarrassing. Bragging rights for the other person is huge, and especially as they are both YouTubers and two of the biggest YouTubers in the world. I'm going to quickly touch on the F1. Exciting race of the weekend, which Leclerc won Ferrari. That was a big deal as it was in Italy. Ferrari obviously being an Italian team, so Leclerc got a lot of praise behind that. He's only a young racer, and I think he is close to signing a new contract there, which is big for Ferrari, who have been out of the spotlight in recent years, as Lewis Hamilton's been winning so easily over the years. I'm not going to talk too much on this because I do like watching F1, but I can't say I know as much as boxing and football, but I'll keep updated with the main big races. And that was a great race in Italy, and it was really exciting for anyone to watch. Right, and that summarises the end of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully I'll keep them coming now. I've got everything up and ready for it. I'll try and get them often as possible. I'm not going to make too many promises on it because I don't want to let you down. But thank you if you've listened all the way through. I really appreciate it. If you'd like and subscribe as well, I'd really appreciate that. Thanks for listening and goodbye.